Microstructure of skeletal muscle in anatomy. Skeletal muscle is a type of muscle that helps you move your bones. It is attached to your skeleton by tendons, which are strong bands of connective tissue. Skeletal muscle is also called voluntary muscle, because you can control it with your brain. For example, when you want to lift your arm, your brain sends a signal to the skeletal muscle in your arm to contract and pull on your bones. Skeletal muscle is made up of many cells called muscle fibers. These cells are very long and thin, and they have many nuclei inside them. Nuclei are the parts of the cell that contain the genetic information or DNA. Muscle fibers can be up to several centimeters long, but they are only about 10 to 100 micrometers in diameter. That means they are much thinner than a strand of hair. How do muscle fibers look like? If you look at a muscle fiber under a microscope, you will see that it has stripes or bands of different colors. These stripes are called striations, and they are caused by the arrangement of proteins inside the muscle fiber. The proteins are called actin and myosin, and they are responsible for the contraction of the muscle fiber. Actin and myosin are organized into units called sarcomeres, which are the smallest functional units of the muscle fiber. A sarcomere is like a tiny spring that can shorten or lengthen when the actin and myosin slide past each other. When many sarcomeres shorten at the same time, the whole muscle fiber contracts. A sarcomere has different regions that can be identified by their appearance under the microscope. The regions are 1. Z-line, this is a dark band that marks the boundary of a sarcomere. 1. It is where the actin filaments are attached. 2. I-band, this is a light band that contains only actin filaments. 2. It gets shorter when the sarcomere contracts. 3. A band, this is a dark band that contains both actin and myosin filaments. 3. It does not change in length when the sarcomere contracts. 4. H-zone, this is a lighter region within the band that contains only myosin filaments. 4. It gets shorter when the sarcomere contracts. 5. M-line, this is a dark line in the middle of the H-zone that holds the myosin filaments together. How do muscle fibers work together? Muscle fibers do not work alone. They are grouped together into bundles called fascicles, which are surrounded by a layer of connective tissue called perimysium. The perimysium helps to hold the fascicles together and to transmit the force generated by the muscle fibers to the tendons. Each muscle fiber is also wrapped by a thin layer of connective tissue called endomysium, which separates it from other muscle fibers and provides nutrients and oxygen to the cell. The endomysium also connects to the perimysium and helps to transfer force to the tendons. The whole skeletal muscle is covered by another layer of connective tissue called epimysium, which protects the muscle from injury and allows it to move independently from other tissues and organs. The epimysium also connects to the tendons, which attach the muscle to the bones. How do different types of skeletal muscle differ? Not all skeletal muscle fibers are the same. They can differ in how fast they can contract, how much force they can produce, how they get energy, and how quickly they get tired. Based on these characteristics, skeletal muscle fibers can be classified into two main types, slow twitch and fast twitch. Slow twitch fibers, also called type 1, are good for endurance activities, such as running or cycling for a long time. They have 1. Lots of capillaries, which are tiny blood vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients to the muscle cells. 2. Lots of mitochondria, which are the parts of the cell that produce energy from oxygen and nutrients. 3. Lots of myoglobin, which is a protein that stores and transports oxygen in the muscle cells. 4. A high capacity to use oxygen and produce energy aerobically, with oxygen. 5. A low tendency to get tired easily. 6. A slow contraction speed. 7. A low force production. Fast twitch fibers, also called type 2, are good for explosive activities, such as sprinting or lifting heavy weights. They have 1. Fewer capillaries, mitochondria, and myoglobin than slow twitch fibers. 2. A low capacity to use oxygen and produce energy aerobically. 3. A high tendency to get tired quickly. 4. A fast contraction speed. 5. A high force production. There are also two subtypes of fast twitch fibers, type IA and type IIX. Type IA fibers are more similar to slow twitch fibers, because they can use oxygen and produce energy aerobically, but they can also contract faster and produce more force. Type IIX fibers are more similar to type IIB fibers, which are found in some animals like rodents or rabbits. Type IIX fibers can only use glucose, a type of sugar, and produce energy anaerobically, without oxygen. but they can contract very fast and produce a lot of force. Different muscles have different proportions of slow twitch and fast twitch fibers, depending on their function. For example, the muscles that help you maintain your posture, such as the muscles in your neck or back, have more slow twitch fibers, because they need to work for a long time without getting tired. The muscles that help you move quickly or powerfully, such as the muscles in your arms or legs, have more fast twitch fibers, because they need to contract fast and produce a lot of force. Skeletal muscle is a type of muscle that helps you move your bones. It is made up of many cells called muscle fibers, which have stripes or bands of different colors called striations. The striations are caused by the arrangement of proteins called actin and myosin, which are organized into units called sarcomeres. Sarcomeres are the smallest functional units of the muscle fiber, and they can shorten or lengthen when the actin and myosin slide past each other. When many sarcomeres shorten at the same time, the whole muscle fiber contracts. Muscle fibers are grouped together into bundles called fascicles, which are surrounded by a layer of connective tissue called perimysium. Each muscle fiber is also wrapped by a thin layer of connective tissue called endomysium. The whole skeletal muscle is covered by another layer of connective tissue called epimysium. These layers of connective tissue help to protect the muscle, hold it together, and transmit the force generated by the muscle fibers to the tendons, which attach the muscle to the bones. Skeletal muscle fibers can be classified into two main types, slow twitch and fast twitch. Slow twitch fibers are good for endurance activities, because they have a high capacity to use oxygen and produce energy aerobically, and they do not get tired easily. Fast twitch fibers are good for explosive activities, because they have a low capacity to use oxygen and produce energy anaerobically, and they can contract fast and produce a lot of force. There are also two subtypes of fast twitch fibers, type IA and type IAX. Type IA fibers are more similar to slow twitch fibers, but they can also contract faster and produce more force. Type IAX fibers are more similar to type IIB fibers, which are found in some animals like rodents or rabbits. They can only use glucose and produce energy anaerobically, but they can contract very fast and produce a lot of force.